Welcome to framework number 5 of building a 7-figure business. And today's framework, we're going to be talking about scaling your consulting company with A players. We're not talking about B or C or bench players. We're talking about top talent so you can help grow your business to the next level, delegate the right way, and not have to micromanage people. So, with that being said, it's now time to actually talk about what it takes to grow a team to 7 figures. Now, as we ascend and grow this business, remember my number one goal for business, and I'll say this a couple more times, is when you want to hire is hire when it hurts. When you build a team of A players, your success will reach the next level and it will ultimately help you achieve things that weren't possible by yourself. So let's jump into my philosophy. Hire when it hurts is the principle I want you to think about when you're growing and as you're building a team, because the biggest problem that I see a lot of people make, and again, a lot of this I'm speaking just on experience, guys, is hiring because it sounds cool or you want to delegate more and you just want to have a bigger company, right? Like you don't want to just hire to hire. You want to hire when you actually need to hire. So for example, don't just hire when you're hiring a setter, and I'm going to go through like the roster and like when to hire and who to hire. But don't just hire a setter inside your business because you don't feel like setting, right? Like hire a setter in your business when you legit aren't getting back to people enough and you have too many sales calls. Like you want to think about this like hire when you become the bottleneck in your business. And then eventually you'll get to the point where you're able to hire this stuff out and then you're buying back more of your time. So that's been the biggest rule inside my company, has helped me hire strategically the right way, is just making sure it's like, hey, before I hire this person, is it necessary? And if it's capping me out on my other things, meaning like, hey, I'm on 5 sales calls a day and I can't get back to these people because that's 5 hours out of the day where I'm not being able to reply to people or manage leads, that would make sense to bring on a new setter at that point. But again, you want to prove the process before you even bring on a new hire in the first place, because especially when you systematize something, you're systematizing the efficiency behind it. So if you have something that's not ironed out yet and you try to systematize it and put an SOP, you're going to get more volume of it. But if it's not good, you're going to get more volume of shit, essentially, right? And this goes back to a famous saying that my dad would always say growing up is you can't polish a turd. And the way that this came up was I was really big into cars growing up, and like my first car, I had like 18-inch chrome rims. I had lights underneath. I had 15-inch, two 15-inch subs in the back, custom stereo. We customized our car a lot. And when we were looking for a car, he goes, because there's these other ones. I was like, well, we could just get a cheaper one and maybe do this. He goes, look, son, you can't polish a turd. And it really stuck with me from that day, is like, same thing with your business. You can't polish a turd. If your business is a turd and you try polishing it and bringing on more employees, you're just going to get more turds. So that's what I'm saying, is have your business be something that is structured properly the right way. And the way to do that is to maximize it out yourself and then build an efficient process behind it so you can really take it to the next level, which goes into the 7-figure team roster. Now, in this video, these lessons I'm going to share with you here, these are what I have found to be the best way to kind of hire as you go through, especially if you're following our strategy of turning your Instagram profile into a funnel. But I think this is the same concept and foundation that you can take in any business that you have online where you have a high ticket product. So first things first is you got to bring on a setter, a sales development rep, AKA SDR. This role is basically hiring someone to have conversations and to speak to people that are interested about your service. They speak to all kinds of different prospects that are essentially just interested in your offer. So that's an SDR. That would be the first one that I would hire. The next one would be a virtual assistant. You can get virtual assistants for like $2 to $5. They're pretty cost effective. But the main thing with this is just you're going to be delegating like tasks that are just taking up too much time, like small tasks, repetitive tasks, updating something. So for example, inside our company, we track all of our clients' attendance because, part of our agreement is, hey, you have to show up and put in the work. And the best way to track that is just saying, hey, were you on the coaching call? So we have a VA that does that, along with some other small tasks too. The next thing is, and this is where a lot of people are going to hear different stories. A lot of people will say, bring on sales reps, bring on sales reps. But I think you should bring on your client success manager first. And let me explain this. When you're growing your business, you are the best salesperson inside your business. No one is ever going to be able to sell your product better than you will because you created it, right? And the moment you take off the brakes of sales and you give the rein to somebody else, you're going to see a decrease in sales. Usually, from my experience, this always happens because there's always that ramp up period. And my goal for you is to stack up as much cash as you possibly can. So when you do bring on another sales rep, that dip doesn't hurt you, right? Like for me, I stacked up probably around at least 100, 200K cash inside my company before I brought on my next sales rep. And then when he came in, we had a huge dip for the first month, which I was prepared for because I knew this was going to happen. And then the next month after he got up to KPI, he just went in blast off mode. So be prepared for that. And that's why I say be in sales as long as you can until you really just can't anymore. And an easy way with this is just bringing on a client success manager and training them on the position, because this is the next most important position inside your company, is having someone that can help fulfill for your clients. And when I brought on my first client success manager, I thought I was going to do client success forever until I was moving from Miami to Tampa. And I moved, and the first week I moved, everything was going well, but there was a hurricane that was coming through Tampa. And, naturally me, my girlfriend, my brother, we were all living together, packed up and sent it to Orlando. And in Orlando, we were in this, like everywhere was booked because everybody in Florida was freaking out. Right. So when we were in Orlando, we had this small hotel. There wasn't great Wi-Fi service. And, I was supposed to be taking calls with clients, fulfilling, but I just couldn't get back to them and I was delayed. And I remember sitting there feeling that feeling. I was like, I can't be the bottleneck for my clients. If something happens to me, then my clients are screwed, right? And like that was the kind of an eye opener for me, is like, I need to teach someone how to do this the right way. And it was probably the best position that I fulfilled at the time, which was hard, but getting a client success manager in there is the most important thing, because you're going to lead to better results for your clients because they can dedicate 100% of their time and attention to it. Whereas if you're running the company, you can only dedicate probably like 20, 30% of your time, right? So like, I'd rather have someone that can do it 100% rather than me 20 to 30%. And it also, not to mention, builds and nurtures relationships with the clients too, and builds that community aspect. Which would go into number 4 is sales. Now it would be time to bring on a sales rep. This is, a sales rep is exactly what it says. This is your first touch point with a prospect. So this is the first person essentially that your prospect is going to have face-to-face interaction with. And yes, if you're wondering whether you should do Zoom or phone calls, definitely always do Zoom. It has and builds more rapport when you can see face-to-face with somebody if you're not doing that. But they're going to be the person that is responsible for presenting your product in the right type of way and making sure that they're ethically giving the right information, because some sales reps just sell because they're based off commission. You want to have a good sales rep that turns down clients because they're not a good fit. And that's really where I saw a lot of growth inside my business, is once we started turning down people because they weren't a good fit, we really, like, our client success got better, the team environment got better, and we just started hitting all-time highs in our months, is just because we got very specific and started saying no to more people. So you need to have a sales rep that can properly explain your product and give it to the right type of people and isn't afraid to say no to certain people. The next is an executive assistant. So after you go through these 4 stages, you want to be looking at bringing on an executive assistant. So think about this as more of like your right-hand support. Executive assistants manage a range of different admin responsibilities, from appointment scheduling, handling dumb, boring tasks, allowing you to essentially just focus on top priorities. So, an example, my executive assistant, I was, really busy with moving, but I had to get, some doctor appointments in play. I had to get my dentist scheduled. I had to get the dermatology scheduled. So I told my executive assistant, hey, call these companies, find a time on these two dates, and did it. Now, that task, after waiting, going through insurance and all this, probably would have taken me like 3 to 4 hours just of annoyingness. And that was something that an executive assistant can help you out with. Now, there's a lot more they can do as far as like basically inside your business, but think about them as like your right hand person where you can offload a lot of stuff to and be like your assistant. It's like, hey, I need you to do this, right? And they'll get it done. So as you do that, the next step as you go through this would be hiring a COO. The COO emerges, and before I go through this, you'll probably bring on more sales reps and more setters through here, but this is just like the framework of the positions that we've done inside our company. And what I'd recommend is, the COO would be the final position that I would recommend right here. Now, you could go CEO after, but I don't have any intention of replacing myself right now. So that's why I limited it at COO. So the COO is really the face of your company. They understand the business like the back of their thumb. Really, like they need to know every single thing that goes on their business. They need to be able to run this business without you, is the way that it goes. And this will also ultimately like just free you up to be more of the CEO and the visionary leader. I don't know where I got this from, but it was a quote that I read somewhere is like, once you get to this level in your business, you just get paid to think and make accurate decisions. And that's a pretty cool thing to do, is because your decisions really shape the growth of your business. And when you have all of this part the right way, it leads for massive success. Now, I added on here bonus because I didn't hire this in because I think this is something, it's more of like a task that you probably should get ASAP, is hire a video editor as soon as you can, because content is king. I'm not going to go into too much detail in there, but you better not be editing your videos like at any point. Like as soon as you can start stacking up cash, hire someone to edit your videos and do it, because that's the task that's going to hold you back the most, is editing your own shit. Now, I have a little note here, is important note is that hitting 7 figures doesn't necessarily require this exact roster. When AIA achieved my company, when we hit its first 7 figures, it was a very lean team. It was just me, a setter, and a closer. And I know you're like, Justin, like what you said, closer, but where's your client success manager? You listen back to that story I mentioned where I learned after, that's why I was doing it myself, right? But like looking back and helping other people grow their company, if I had to restart my company, it would have been me, a setter, and it would have been a client success manager, and then a closer after. But this worked out for like my company because the closer that I have was an old business partner, and time and everything just lined up for what I was doing. So I don't regret it by any means. I think it was probably the best decision and way for us to grow our business. But here's what I would recommend for you. So feel free to take a screenshot if you'd like and go from there. Now, the next section I want to talk about is really just understanding team dynamics, because as you build a team, you're going to experience a lot of problems in your business. And you're going to want to quit. You're going to want to get frustrated. You're going to be like, why the hell are you doing that or saying that? Trust me. But once you crack the code to this, you're going to be able to achieve milestones that you never thought was possible by yourself. So I want you to really think about like this phase in your business is more of a management time in your life, which is completely different than just marketing and closing deals. This is actually a lot harder. And this is why most people fail to make it to this level, because they end up quitting because of all the headaches. And trust me, there's going to be a lot of headaches. I'm always going to keep it real with you, is like, growing a business to, multiple 6 figures a year it's pretty simple. You just have to get good with yourself and then good with, a setter and maybe a closer or something like that. But to build a company that has a full team beneath you that runs departments and does everything is an entire different game, and it requires leadership. And that's why at this point in your life, it's different than just running and making some sales. It's you're leading people, you're overseeing people, and you're actually just guiding people because you actually are a direct correlation to them providing food on their table to their families, right? It's kind of crazy to think about, but you have a lot more responsibility in your life. So this lesson of becoming a leader is not something you can just watch a video on. I'll always do my best to promote what we're doing inside my business on this YouTube channel. So you can probably pick up a lot of key components that I'm learning. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. But here's some books I gave you. And I don't know if you can tell, but I've got one bookshelf back here. I actually have to get another bookshelf because I have so many books I've been getting recently. But here is 5 books that you could pick up today. So Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. Anything by John Maxwell is really good. The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell. The No BS Ruthless Management of People and Profits by Dan Kennedy. And The Motive by Patrick Lencioni, which I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. These are in no particular order. Pick what you will, pick what you like. If you got any other recommendations, drop them down below. I'd love to hear what you think. I'm the type of person, whenever I hear, hey, buy this book, I go buy it. And that's why I have so many. I literally have like another box and a half downstairs that I need to add to this. So in conclusion, as we wrap up this lesson with scaling a team with A players, keep in mind that growing your team strategically isn't just about boosting numbers. It's actually about building a team of A players that helps you achieve milestones that you weren't possible by yourself as a solopreneur. And you're going into, as I mentioned, more of that leadership role inside your company. And it is not an easy thing to do, but I promise you it is worth it. So as we come to an end with this, I want you to know is like team management isn't easy, but it's absolutely necessary. And if you follow these 5 frameworks, and again, the whole point of this series of the frameworks wasn't to give you hey, do this exact type of thing, but give you the frameworks to build it so these videos can be everlasting and help you build to a 7-figure business. And as I'll say at the end of like every other video is if you're a coach or consultant already doing over 10K a month and you're wanting to hit 7 figures with a consistent, predictable way, me and my team, we've mastered this. We've been doing it since 2017. And if that's you and you have a predictable offer, I'd love the chance to potentially be able to work together. So if you're any bit interested, there'll be a link down below. There'll be a calendar with testimonials on there. You can go through, see some of the people that we worked with. We worked with some really big industry leaders, and we're really good at what we do. I feel very confident with saying that. I feel like a very good spot inside my business because it's taken me a minute to get here. But these frameworks I've shared with you are what we've mastered inside our business as well. And I'd like to help you expand your knowledge on that and really build this into a legit business. So if you're any bit interested, feel free to click the link down below. The price will always be on that page, the updated price. The reason I'm not saying in this video is because our price does change. We are constantly going up because in a perfect world, I work with less clients and we get better results. Just being 100% honest with you. I'd rather work with 10 clients that fulfill my life rather than 1,000 clients. Again, just being real with you. It's not that I don't like you. It's just there's a lot of things going on with that. So with that being said, if you want, click the link down below. Make sure to subscribe. And I appreciate your time and attention if you've gone through the 5 frameworks. If you haven't yet, go back and check out the rest. All the videos will be linked down below. And I will see you in the next video.